All right, welcome back to PC Building Simulator. Welcome to the NZXT workshop. I haven't been in here in a little while. In the last episode, we built this, the all MSI PC, built inside of the MSI Secure 500X, a case that has terrible airflow, and many of you have verified that in real life, it has terrible airflow. So thank you. I figured, honestly, the way it was designed, I was like, yeah, it can't be good. It can't be good. So yeah, that was last video. But today, we're going to do something a little different. So we've built super RGB PCs before. We've built sleeper PCs before. It's like a, where it's like an understated case, doesn't look like much, but then inside it's, just beast. Today we're gonna build sort of an anti-sleeper. This is gonna be almost like a how not to build a computer. Also, it's gonna be two things in one, sort of. And to do it, we're gonna build it inside of this case, which I have not built in a while, the Gamerstorm Quadstellar. So the whole idea behind this video is going to be the anti-sleeper. So the PC that looks really good or really over the top, but then actually performs pretty bad. And we're going to show a lot of things not to do when you build a computer, things not to spend money on, and things to spend money on and not overlook. And we're basically going to do it all wrong. So let's start with the Gamerstorm Quadstellar, which is just a crazy case. I haven't built this in a long time, like I said. This was actually kind of like one of the first PC Building Simulator videos that caught on for me, was a build I did in the Quadstellar. So I love the Quadstellar. And this is the special limited, the Electro limited edition colorway. There's also a black version, but we got to go limited edition if we're going to go, the anti-sleeper. So let's go ahead and pull this apart. It has a pretty interesting design. Remove all the glass windows. You slide off these chambers at each kind of like quadrant of the case, and amazingly, this case actually supports full-size motherboards. I think it goes up to just ATX. I don't think you can do eATX, but maybe you can actually. It doesn't matter. We're not going to do that today because we're going to do it all wrong, and you're going to see why. So let's get into it. Yeah, so let's start with our motherboard, and when we think about the motherboard, we're going to have to think about the CPU. So really, the CPU we're going to use, we're going to go for a pretty bad CPU, because it's going to be all about how to not build a computer. And not spending money on your CPU is a great way to not build a computer. Don't do this. Don't do what we're going to do, but we're going to use the Intel Celeron G3900. I think it is the worst CPU in the game. Dual core, 2800 megahertz, 51 watts. I mean, this is a mobile CPU basically. It does not belong in this computer. It does not belong in a lot of like real desktop PCs, and it does not belong inside of the Gamerstorm Quadstellar. But we're gonna do it because that's the whole name of the game. So to do that, we're gonna need a motherboard that supports Skylake. I don't know why I have caps lock on. Okay, which is any of the Mortoni boards. Which I don't want to use those because I want a board that looks really cool. So actually, we can also use any of the 200 series Intel boards, like the 270 series. Those are Kaby Lake, but that does go backwards compatible with Skylake. So with that said, we're gonna use the Gigabyte Z270X Gaming 8, which is like a pretty nice gaming motherboard. I think the motherboard actually has, oh, we got to remove this little GPU support, and we'll come back to that. But I think the motherboard actually might have, in real life, I don't know, at least it looks like it. It looks like it has outlets, inlet outlet for water cooling on the VRM, which is crazy for a Z270 board. I'm actually kind of surprised. But that's what it looks like to me. Not that we can use them in the game or anything, but that is interesting. So that's what we're going to use for our motherboard. And then, like I said, our CPU, the formidable, not formidable at all. Is it not 3900? Am I crazy? Oh, I'm in CPU cooling. That would do it. Yeah, the 3900 dual core CPU. Don't do this, kids. Don't build a computer like this. So this thing's gonna look cool, right? Cool motherboard, like pretty, gaming motherboard. This is Celeron CPU dual core. Oh my gosh, why are we doing this? What's wrong with us? And of course, we're gonna go for custom water cooling, because what is cooler looking than custom water cooling? So we'll put our thermal paste down, and then let's get into how we're gonna do some custom water cooling. We're only gonna do it on the CPU because we really don't want to get into water cooled GPUs because they're too nice. So any of these CPU blocks will work, but I'm thinking we got to go RGB. Let's go EK's RGB block. Looks super legit. Right there, you just look at this, Gamerstorm, nice Aorus motherboard. You're thinking this is a pretty nice build. It is not. It's not. The CPU is going to ruin everything, and the GPUs are going to ruin things too once we get to that. So let's see. Another thing not to do that we're going to do, we're going to put a power supply that has no business being in this computer. We're going to put a 1,000-watt power supply in this. Some people seem to do this. They buy really expensive power supplies that they don't need. So that's going to be part of our show here too, is this 1,000-watt power supply. When your power supply costs like 4 times as much as your CPU, you know you have a problem. Just so we know. Just so we're clear. Don't do that. That's not a good thing. Okay, so that's gonna be our power supply. We're gonna go 1,000 watt. I could go bigger, of course, but we're not going to. We're not that crazy. Like I said, we're gonna do custom water cooling. Let's get some radiator. Well, really just one radiator in here. We've got room for a 240 rad, and of course we're gonna do RGB fans on it because I want everybody to know how cool I am. So we're gonna actually take this case fan out and then put our 240 rad up here. And then we're gonna have room. I think last time I built in this, we didn't have this reservoir, so this was a little harder, but now we've got room for our little Alpha Cool Ice Station DC Ultra down here. Tucks in, room for the piping to come out, super nice. Looks legit, right? I'm gonna take out all these case fans, and actually there's one back here that we'll have room to put in, and there's one that right back here, and then there's one over here. So we're gonna have room to put 4 fans in, and of course, we gotta do RGB fans. Right? Like, we need people to know. RGB. We're going to go with Corsair's HD120s because they're very RGB. So we can't put one there. We're going to do one there. I don't have the auto cable tool on. That is very intentional. Oh, you can do case fans up here? Wait, it like did it for a second and then it took away. What? Oh, because I'm not on the case fan. What? That's so weird. Okay, well, I guess we could explore that because we'll have a couple options when we do GPUs. So we got 3 fans there in the front, and then we can tuck one back here behind, not there, but back here to, what is that doing? Is that exhausting? That is intake. Everything is intake, okay. And you can open these little fins in this case to open up your intake vents. You know, we're gonna need it for all the performance. Get all the air in there. I actually think that's really cool. You can do that in the game. It's super awesome. And you can push the power button right here, which is fun. I love it. They actually built that into the game. Okay, so that's our case fans for now. Let's do some storage. Now, here's another place you don't want to cut costs, which means we're gonna cut costs here and get something terrible. So one of the worst things you can do if you want to have a computer that works well is like to not put any solid state storage in it. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with the worst hard drive we can. 100. It's interesting. The biggest one is the slowest. 140 megabytes per second. The Mortoni Easy Store 500 gig. We're gonna do one of those, and that's gonna be our storage. We can always add more Mortoni drives if we need more games. You know. We need more room for games. But really, you're going to see when we go to install things how slow that makes the system. And it would make it that slow no matter really the CPU or anything like that. This is going to bottleneck your system quite a bit. Storage is a huge deal, and it's not a place you want to cheap out, seriously. Spend a little money, get an SSD, and you will thank yourself. It's okay to put your games on a hard drive like this, you know, but try to get your OS on some solid state, and you will be so happy you did. Okay, let's get some graphics cards in here. So for graphics cards, we've got a couple options of where we put them. We can actually, I'm going to swing around over here. You can remove these covers and mount them straight on the motherboard like we do normally, or you can put them up here. And, you know, they'll have this little intake pulling fresh air into them, which is actually kind of cool. It's interesting because our radiator is exhausting, so it's not super ideal. There's actually not like a ton of airflow coming into the center part, so I'm going to put them up here because we can, because this case is crazy. So we're going to do that. Let's remove... I'm trying to remember which one it is. I think it's this one. I think it's maybe these 4. Because we can get 2 graphics cards in here. First, I'm going to put back this GPU support, which just goes across the top. You need that if you're going to put graphics cards up there. And then let's get into our graphics cards. And we are going to, we're going to use... So, I don't know. I looked through some of the graphics cards. Obviously, the worst performing graphics cards in the game are like the 1030. They don't look like much. I guess the R9... Dude, the R9 370, I wonder how bad that is, actually. Because I was... Actually, wait, can you... It's weird that that shows up when I do 1030. Can I crossfire that? I can. R9 370? Okay, timeout. Timeout. I was kind of looking at, like, the part ranking app, which... the part ranking app is really not super great. Like, 1050s are lower than the 950, and, like, you know, what? I don't really know. I don't know exactly where the R9... Dude, the R9 370 is not a good card, is it? It's not great. It is not great. Was that what I was seeing, 1030? Oh, R9 370. All right, we're going to do 2 of these. What I like about this card is I want to get a card that looks cool. Like, MSI uses this design for a ton of cards. Like, if we look at MSI's cards, look at all of these. They got to the 60s. I think it goes all the way to the 1080. Oh, there's a 1080 Ti that uses that design. So that's crazy. Like, so that's why I thought it'd be fun to do that, because you kind of don't know what you're getting when you use that, like, you use that shroud design with MSI. So I'm just going to keep typing 1030 because I know it gets me what I want. R9 370 gaming, you know, it looks cool, although it's only got a single power plug. So if you saw that, you might know something ain't good here. I think I even put a 950 in that. At least had 2 6-pins, I think. Yikes. But anyway, it at least like looks like it could be a good card at first glance, and then you'll realize like, yeah, this ain't no 1080 Ti. And of course we got the Crossfire Band-Aid connecting the two, which is super fun. Wait, Crossfire has a bridge? Since when? Is that an old thing? I don't really know. I don't really follow like how multi-GPU support works, so I'm kind of clueless there actually. Okay, so you can see our gigantic riser cables connecting them. It's a little interesting, but it works. All right, so that's that. Can we still put a case fan up here? Or would bad things happen? Okay, so now you can't. Okay, cool. You can't. Okay, because it goes on the inside. So that's interesting. Huh. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave those up there because they're kind of fun with the riser cables. So there we go. That's good. Oh, yeah, we need to do memory. Now, memory is really important, of course, but if you don't have like a good CPU, like really nice memory is sort of pointless, which is why that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna do Trident Z Royal because it's just glam fest, and we'll do 32 gigs of it, which is unnecessary. Like, it's unnecessary if you're trying to build a gaming PC. 32 gigs of RAM is not really where you should focus your money. You should get like a CPU that's not a Celeron in this case, especially not buying Trident Z Royal, which is pretty expensive. $120 per DIMM is pretty expensive. So yeah, that's what we're gonna do. It looks awesome. It looks super cool, but it's kind of pointless in a computer like this with this CPU. Pretty pointless. So, okay, so I think we've got all the components now. We should hook up our water cooling. Got our storage, we got our power, we got our CPU, we got graphics cards, we got stuff. We got case fans. Yeah, so let's get everything cabled up first. And of course, we're gonna use braided we're gonna use like custom cables, because yeah, like we're all about the look here. So let's get the motherboard connected up. For the most part, this is pretty simple. I don't have the automatic connect tool on because you need to do this the right way or it doesn't work. So that's why I don't have that turned on. This is going to be the rear case fan, radiator, case fan on the bottom, case fan here. This is the case. We can connect that. Okay, then the way I like to do this is I like to connect the radiator first here, and then everything else is pretty much going to daisy chain into the radiator, because otherwise I find that I run out of connection points for fans. Oh, I still ran out. Okay, there we go. All right, so I think I got that now. This fan up here is actually daisy chained into the fan back here, and then this is straight into the radiator. So everything should be connected. Yes. Okay, so we've got fan is good. 1, 2, 3 fans there. Okay, cool. So everything's connected. It's looking super glam. It looks so cool, but it's not cool. Oh, for fittings, we've got to go with RGB fittings, right? We got to pull all the stops. And then, of course, we're going to go with rigid tubing. It's going to look cool, but it's not going to be good. So we got our inlet, outlet. So let's go out the reservoir into our radiator there. Just going to tweak that. This is an interesting case to do bends in because everything's kind of at an angle. So your bends aren't really going to look super amazingly clean. They aren't going to snap really nice because we're off axis for everything. So we'll go out the reservoir, into the radiator, into the CPU. Oof, that didn't do very well, did it? Let's delete some bends in here. We don't need all of these. Better. Yeah, trying to make this look perfect is probably pretty pointless, to be honest. It's just not going to be an easy one to bend. Okay, I mean, that's That's close-ish. There we go, and then we'll bring it right back. So simple loop, but rigid tubing is, again, and kind of an insane place to spend money, because rigid tubing, like in real life, in the game, it really doesn't cost anything. Like the piping doesn't cost anything, but in real life, like rigid tubing is expensive. You'll spend a lot of money on just tubing, and I mean, custom water cooling is just expensive. And again, if you were gonna do custom water cooling, like you need to just buy a good CPU way before you consider how to cool. I mean, this CPU does not need this kind of cooling. Like this is silliness. I love it. The anti-sleeper. Okay. You know, sorta. It's hard to, it doesn't really snap super well, but there you go. And then we'll do our coolant. Let's see, we've got kind of like an orange thing. I've got like the orange. What am I typing? Am I typing coolant? Wow, that's embarrassing. Orange opaque UV, sure, let's do it. Okay, kind of get our orange theme in here. The orange cables, I'm kind of disappointed. They're like a faded mac and cheese, which is not really the orange I was going for. The coolant is closer. I want this orange. Trying to get things to match in this game is really difficult, though. Okay, so with the loop filled, with everything connected, we should be good to go now, and we should be able to post. There you go, we're posting. All right, so check this out. When I talked about storage being an issue, if we go ahead and just get our USB drive in here to boot our OS and install the OS, just check out this boot time. Check it out, check it out, check it out, check it out. Oh yeah, oh yeah. This is why you don't want a slow hard drive. Because like, other times in the game, like it boots so fast. And like I can tell you in real life, like with an M.2 NVMe drive is my main drive, I was blown away how fast Windows installs. So it's a little different. All right, I'm gonna go get some other stuff set up, some of these other programs. It's gonna take a while because it's pretty slow actually. We're gonna get, you know, lighting installed. We're gonna do a benchmark. We'll check out temps. They should be fine. And then we'll come back and see exactly how it does. Well, that took a while, but I've got stuff installed. We got some things set up here. I wanted to check out Will It Run just to see how bad is it for what it's worth in this app. We can, good news, we can run Photoshop. That's great. Premiere, not happening thanks to our CPU. Let's check out maybe Grand Theft Auto 5. No, for multiple reasons. We got VRAM issues, GPU's not doing it, CPU's not doing it. CPU's definitely not doing it in a lot of these things. You wanna play a little League? Sorry, not on this computer. So things are pretty sad there. Let's look at how we did on 3D Mark. A 2,354, which is hurt very badly by our CPU. I actually think I could have picked worse GPUs. So we are nicer than we needed to be there. 3,345 on the GPU, but it's a far cry from the 25,000 of some of these top of the line. I think this is a 9980 XE, two 3090s, maybe? Yes. So yeah, far cry from that. And this was, you know, $9 grand, but look how much we spent in the game at least. Almost $3 grand. You spent almost $3 grand and you can't even run Grand Theft Auto. So don't do this. Again, don't do this. Though the temperatures on the CPU are excellent, as they should be. 36 degrees with a custom water loop on a Celeron. So, yikes. Let's get, though, since, you know, aesthetic is such a big deal, let's get our RGB going, right? This is important. And obviously, there's only one correct setting, and it's rainbow. Because if you're going to build in the Gamerstorm Quadstellar, you're going to be rainbow all the time. So look at that. It's beautiful. It's actually a little bit of a mess, looks-wise still, in my opinion. You know, this is a pretty aggressive case with the orange, and orange is difficult in this game. But hey, there you go. That's like a PC that looks like it's going to be really awesome. And then it isn't. It's really not awesome. Like it doesn't run pretty simple games, honestly. So this is how to not build a computer, kids. I hope you learned something. Do not cheap out on your CPU. Do not cheap out on your storage. Try not to cheap out on your graphics card. I know that right now, graphics cards are a hard thing to come by. This is tough times, isn't it? And then don't spend a bunch of money on RGB and cases if you've cheaped out on other things, right? You gotta prioritize the things that matter. I'd rather you build a nice performing computer that can run League of Legends and build it in a cardboard box than build in the Gamerstorm Quadstellar. Oh, but gotta have the vents open. And not be able to run games like that. So there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. If you did enjoy this and you want to see more videos of PC Building Simulator or any other games I've been playing, be sure to subscribe. And either way, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you in the next video. See ya.